Diversity and Oppression Presentation, presented by Victoria Payne, Kiara Rose, Shamar Sanders, and Angela Smith. Vietnamese Americans. Vietnamese group identity. Vietnamese people feel a sense of identity based on their shared cultural heritage, language, and country of origins. The majority of the members are able to speak Vietnamese, and many of the younger generations speak Vietnamese and English. Vietnamese people value their family, especially their respect of their elders, and family relations are centered around their lives. Their identity is maintained through cultural traditions, religious beliefs, and national celebrations. There are many Vietnamese customs that are practiced and have continued to be practiced because of their past and adjustings to life in the United States. All of these commonalities foster a sense of community and cultural pride. Defining characteristics. Family and collective responsibility is a key future feature of the Vietnamese community. An important cultural value that affects family role and decision making is respect for elders. There are many Vietnamese people who follow other religions like Buddhism and Catholicism, ancestor worship, and other religions. Education, hard work, and perseverance are also highly valued within the community. Cultural traditions, food, and language are still building community identities and celebrations. These distinguished futures are part of what makes it resilient and help to pass it on through the generations while maintaining the Vietnamese culture. Population and prevalence. The Vietnamese American community is one of the largest in the U.S. Southeast Asian community with over 2 million people of Vietnamese ancestors in the U.S. The Vietnamese American community is largest in California, especially Orange County and San Jose. There are substantial Vietnamese populations in Texas, Washington, Virginia, and Louisiana as well. Population growth was a result of immigration after the Vietnam War. The community the community continues to expand due to family reunification and new immigration. Population data enables healthcare providers to better understand the needs of this culturally diverse group. Geographic distribution. California, largest population. We also have Texas, which is a significant community. We have Washington as a growing population, Louisiana as established residents, which we see Vietnamese throughout, and urban community centers. Vietnamese Americans live mainly in a few states in the United States, with the highest number being California. This is another significant Vietnamese population, which is in Texas, particularly in Houston, Texas. Other populations exist in Washington, Virginia, and Louisiana, where they have been good culture networks established. Most Vietnamese families reside in urban places where cultural organizations, businesses, and places of worship exist. These communities offer social support, maintain traditions, and enhance access to culturally appropriate services. Awareness of Vietnamese population distribution is important to help social workers and healthcare providers provide culturally response care.
Group culture. Vietnamese American culture blends traditional Vietnamese values with American culture while preserving traditions passed down from generation to generation. Family is at the center of Vietnamese culture with strong emphasis placed on respect for elders and maintaining close family relationships. Many traditional households continue to speak Vietnamese at home and with elders in the community, while English is commonly used at school, at work, and in the community. Vietnamese culture places a great emphasis on family welfare and parental status than on individual interests, which influence many family roles and decisions. Traditions. Many Vietnamese Americans follow traditions that begun in Vietnam that are still being used generations later. Vietnamese families honor deceased relatives by maintaining a family altar with photographs, candles, flowers, incense, and offerings of food and fruit. Many believe their ancestors continue to watch over and protect their descendants. Weddings often blend traditional Vietnamese and Western culture while emphasizing family unity and respect for elders. Many couples continue to honor Vietnamese traditions by participating in a tea ceremony where they serve tea to their parents and their grandparents and bow as a sign of gratitude and respect. Brides may wear the beautiful traditional ai during parts of the celebration before changing into a traditional Western white wedding gown. Celebrating both customs reflect how many Vietnamese American families preserve their cultural heritage while embracing American traditions. Food is a central part of Vietnamese culture also and is often shared during holidays, celebration, and family gatherings. Popular dishes include pho, banh mi, spring rolls, bak chang, and traditional rice cakes. Another tradition is Lunar Year, which is also called Tet, is one of the most important holidays in Vietnamese culture marking the beginning of a new year. It is celebrated between late January and early February. Before the lunar year, families thoroughly clean and decorate their homes to symbolize a fresh start and welcome good luck. During the celebration, adults and elders give money in red envelopes to children and young adults. These red envelopes symbolize good luck, happiness, prosperity, and protection from evil spirits. In New Orleans, many Vietnamese Americans celebrate Tet at the annual multi-day festival held at Mary Queen Vietnamese Church in New Orleans East, where families get together to enjoy traditional food, cultural performances, lion dances, and community celebration. The Vietnamese nation is built on several important values that have shaped its culture and identity. These values continue to influence Vietnamese Americans today by shaping family life, education, work ethic, and community involvement. They are often passed down through generations to help preserve the Vietnamese culture. Vietnamese Americans demonstrate resilience through strong social support, religious involvement, and cultural adaptability. These resources help protect their mental health and reduce the negative effects of discrimination and other life stressors that Vietnamese Americans face till today. Strong social networks, religious involvement, and successful cultural adaptability are important protective factors for Vietnamese Americans. These factors help reduce the impact of discrimination and support mental health, displaying resilience within the American within the Vietnamese American community.
Here's an overview of oppression through social problems, economic problems, and political problems. During the 2021 COVID pandemic that faced America, Vietnamese and other Asian populations experienced discrimination. With the origin of the virus being in Asia, many races that originated in a foreign country has experienced discrimination as being the cause of the outbreak. 32% of Asians say they know another Asian in the US who has been treated or attacked because of the pandemic. An issue that was going on through the 1900s was the Chinese Exclusion Acts, which denied citizenship for Vietnamese folks, but was later revoked in the 1940s. And they are often isolated from society as they are treated as foreigners as if they can't speak English. Now, if you're in Southern America, you would notice the majority of nail salons are populated by Asian American employees. It is rare to notice Vietnamese citizens to be working outside of the service industry. The expected income is roughly around $40,200. Many think they would need to apply for better employment, but unfortunately, stereotyping and labeling have left the population to reclaim the stereotype. Political problems. Vietnamese population also has issues with ICE agents, much like the Latin American community. A report has shown in October, Illinois state representatives alleged that federal agents pointed a gun at him and his staffer when he was driving through the Ivory Park and Albany Park neighborhoods to warn community members about ICE. He was treated as if he was an illegal immigrant and was forced to provide documentation and was under various background checks. Now, if you can see on the right here, it shows that majority of Asians they believe that their problems are majority and that they get too little attention. Oppressions and sectionality. In Vietnamese culture, they practice Buddhism or Christianity. Both religions are enforced to have severe expectations of sexuality and sin. It is supported that creating a family of the same bloodline is crucial in Vietnamese culture. Homosexual relationships are unable to procreate without participation of the opposite sex. Vietnamese American women are subject to forced racialized sexism. They often are fetishized and viewed as workplace tokens. Women also expected to be caretakers and wage earners while maintaining feminine standards and following white beauty standards.
The history of resistance. The Vietnamese community is traced back to refugees who fled reform after the fall of Saigon in 1975. Many settled in East New Orleans due to the climate and fishing opportunities. Vietnamese Louisians have demonstrated resistance through community organization, preserving culture, participating in politics, and activism for environmental justice. Catholic churches served as the hub for communication, education, and advocacy. One great example was how they organized to rebuild their neighborhoods after Hurricane Katrina with limited government assistance. They continue to advocate for immigrant rights, language access, healthcare equity, disaster recovery, and preservation of culture. Legal protection. Vietnamese Americans in Louisiana are protected under civil rights and immigration laws. These acts and laws prohibited discrimination based on nationality, disability, housing, and in the workplace. Vietnamese Americans benefited from federally funded programs that offered employment services and community integration. Language barriers and limited legal knowledge of their rights reduced the effectiveness of these rights. Other protectors. Strong religious support through Catholic churches, aid organizations, Vietnamese American Community Associations, refugee assistance programs, culturally responsive healthcare providers, and community health centers, mental health initiatives designed specifically for Vietnamese Americans, language interpreters. Environmental justice organizations teamed up with universities and nonprofits to address environmental health risks, improve disaster preparedness, and advocate for cleaner coastal environments. Moving forward, the outlook of oppression. Despite ongoing challenges, Vietnamese Americans in Louisiana have demonstrated remarkable resilience through community engagement, cultural preservation, and civic participation.
In conclusion, the Vietnamese community has a rich cultural heritage built on strong family values, respect for elders, education, and hard work. Although Vietnamese family came to the United States as a refugee after the after the Vietnam War, they have established thriving communities while preserving their language, traditions, and customs. Today, Vietnamese Americans continue to make meaningful contributions in healthcare, education, businesses, technology, and public services. As future social workers, it is important for us to understand and respect the culture, beliefs, family dynamics, and tradition of Vietnamese individuals and families. Thank you for watching. Reference page 1, reference page 2.